Oh, this will be good. We can add some chocolate syrup to it, and that'll be real nice. He grabbed a few new waters and headed back to the bedroom to find the movie on TV and to get it ready to watch. She soon returned, hopped in bed, and cuddled up next to her man. He shared the bowl of ice cream the way they always loved to share it. One bowl, one spoon, 2 napkins, always. While she enjoyed a few scoops, he had found the movie and was ready to press play. "So, what do you like about this movie, Casablanca?" she asked. "Well, for starters, it's a classic Hollywood film. It's got a love story component. There's comedy, action, drama. There's good guys and bad guys, and in the end, love wins in ways you least expect. When it does, I guarantee, your heart will sink and your eyes will cry." I think everyone should see Casablanca at some point in their life. It's just a wonderful movie. It reminds you a lot of how love used to work back in the old days compared to how it kind of doesn't work today in today's world. Wow, I can't wait to see it. All right, well, are you ready? Definitely, yes. As she gave him a quick kiss again on the cheek. He pressed play, and the movie started. They snuggled up after finishing their ice cream to watch the movie closer together. As it progressed through the many different scenes, and as characters were introduced, she started to get a feel for what was taking place. You see, basically, a bar owner named Rick Blaine, played by Humphrey Bogart, fell in love with a young woman named Ilsa, played by Ingrid Bergman, while in Paris, France. They were planning on getting married until Ilsa got word that her former husband, who she thought was dead, was still alive. Rick and Ilsa were to leave Paris to avoid getting caught by the Germans who were invading. At the last minute, Ilsa got word that her husband was alive and that she had to go to him. She told Rick to meet her at the train station, which she never did. Rick, standing there at the train station, getting drenched by the pouring rain, feeling like his guts had just been kicked in, was given a letter saying that she would not be able to make it and that he should go on without her. Devastated, he boarded the train and left Paris, thinking he'd never see her again. That is, until one night, she showed up at his bar in Morocco with her husband, Victor Laszlo, played by Paul Henreid. Long story short, you'll just have to watch the movie to see the many different scenes related to their lost chance at love and see how the movie ends. It's guaranteed to move you in ways no other film ever will. I guess that's why they call it a timeless classic. As the movie ended, our fair lady in bed, all cuddled up, couldn't help but notice how important Ilsa was to her husband and how much Rick saw that her husband's work was supported by Ilsa's love for him. As in, you're getting on that plane with Victor, where you belong. Inside of us, we both know you belong with Victor. You're part of his work, the thing that keeps him going. You know, after thinking about that kind of love and commitment, she asked him lying next to her, "What do you think about marriage? Do you ever see yourself getting married?" "I do, actually. I just need to find the right gal." "How do you know that you'll find her?" "Oh, I'll know." "Tell me about her." "Well, she's more than just a girlfriend, and more than just a wife, maybe a mother. She complements me in so many ways. She's a lot like me to some degree, except in the female form. She likes the same foods, the same beverages, likes doing the same things. We get along real well. She has her own creative business outlet for making money and sees what I'm doing and understands it and supports it like I support what she does. She's not too much into the bling bling or hanging out with her friends as she is into hanging out with me, her man. I'm much like her. I don't want to hang out with a bunch of guys, as I'd rather be hanging out with her." "Sounds like you know what she's like without ever meeting her," she replied. "I even know how I'd propose to her. I can see it, and it's so romantic." "Oh, what's that like? Tell me. Well, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to cast doubt with my choice when choosing a bride. You'll never catch me asking a question like, will you marry me? To me, that's just shouts out doubt. As in, I'm not sure you love me. Oh, please, will you? No. Instead, I take a more confident approach that offers the opportunity to spend a lifetime with me. For example, let's say that we've been going and maybe hanging out for a year or two, maybe 3. In order to get to know one another, share adventures, work together, make some money together, etc., we got to go through that stage. For me, what I'd like to do is to surprise her by taking us up the coast to some quaint hotel with an amazing ocean view suite. Then, one morning, as we're laying there in bed just soaking in yet another morning of lovemaking and staring out the huge ocean view from our patio door overlooking the water and sunrise, I'd say to her ever so casually, we've shared so many good times together, romantic times. We've made love so many times. I can't think of living my life without you. So, I just wanted to ask you one simple question. What are you doing for the rest of your life? To this, she would answer, hanging out with you. At that very moment, I'd then pop the next question. Want to get married? Naturally, she'd respond with, yeah. Oh, that sounds so romantic. I want you to ask me that question one day, she said, heart fluttering, eyes a bit tearful. That is so sweet and so original. Yeah, I kind of like it. Then we'd go shopping for some kind of ring together. I wouldn't shop without her. Besides, I'd want to know she'd say yes before I plopped down any money on an engagement ring. Duh. I mean, do you want to hang out with me or be with somebody else? It's a pretty simple question, right? Yeah, that sounds so romantic. Oh. Well, time will tell. And I mean, even we have to go through certain stages to find out if we're meant to be. Are we the one for each other, etc.? What's more, getting married serves several purposes that represent, number 1, we're off the market, in a committed relationship, and that we shouldn't be pursued by anyone because we are committed to each other. Number 2, marriage is the next step in confirming our love to one another, to others, and to God. Number 3, marriage is a statement to each other that we have found the one for us and that we can now look inward for growth instead of outward, looking for someone to help us grow and experience life. And number 4, marriage is a contract entitling us both to each other's assets, our income, and other things that we might acquire during our marriage together. As in, you get 50% of whatever I make, and I get 50% of whatever you make. That's why I like the idea of us being partners in business, doing projects together, and making money together. When we both put in 50% each into those money-making activities, we both deserve 50% of the income. There, for me, that's marriage in a nutshell. Besides the wedding ceremony, which I have an idea on that one as well, and getting married is also the best arrangement for having children, too. Kids need a mom and a dad. I agree with a lot of what you just said. It makes sense. Go on. Well, for me, a small private wedding is what I'd like. I don't need the world to know or to attend my wedding. They can read about it in the papers or online or through friends. I've been to big weddings, and they're more trouble than they're worth. Smaller weddings always seem to work out better, are more intimate, and we can take all the money we'd spend on a big wedding and really pour it into making the smaller wedding seem big and far more enjoyable by those few that we invite to attend. How's that sound? It actually sounds pretty good. It makes sense. Believe it or not. I guess I'd prefer a small wedding myself. I picture the perfect wedding consisting of my beautiful bride and myself, of course. Then some immediate family members and a few friends. Done. Small, intimate, personal, private, and yet a memory to last us a lifetime. I can even see where we might be married to. Oh, where? I'm liking all of this. Keep going. I'll start picking out my dress. She smiled and laughed lightly. Well, I'd like to think we could be married somewhere along the coast of California, right on the ocean. Perhaps on a cliff somewhere, overlooking the ocean. The wedding would take place right before sunset. In that, as the pastor says, you may now kiss the bride. The sun is setting and it reminds us of when we first kissed. Remember? Now, just as he said that word, remember, to her, while lying next to her in bed, a small tear appeared in her eye, as if she could see all of this happening to her. I do remember our first kiss on the boat as the sun was setting. How could I forget? It was so romantic, and how you described getting married on the coast on a cliff overlooking the ocean. It's just all so romantic. I want to be that bride one day, baby. Well, then we'd arrange for dinner to be held somewhere near the coast, and so we could maybe enjoy dining outside under the moonlight, the ocean waves splashing ashore, and maybe our hotel is nearby where the other guests are staying. I'm sure at that point in time, all such details would be worked out. But for now, you get the basic idea of how things might go down. What do you think about my concept and ideas on getting married and the wedding? I think it sounds perfect and beautiful. I'd be in favor of practically everything you just said. And hey, I'm not the only one getting married that day, okay? Whoever that lucky bride is will also get to have her say in things. I want all decisions to be made by the two of us and in complete harmony. Nothing too fancy or flashy. They even say the bigger the wedding, the worse off the marriage will be, as compared to smaller weddings. Then, because we have a smaller wedding, for those who couldn't make it, we get to travel to them, or they might travel to us, and we get to recreate the wedding to some small degree all over again in their presence. We share how it went down, and they get to celebrate with us in their own space. Essentially, we can celebrate our wedding with anyone and everyone who didn't make it over and over again, which could be with a lot of folks. To me, it just reminds me of what we experienced on our wedding day. I can see that. That sounds like fun too, and it makes sense the way you describe it. Well, of course, every year on our anniversary, we'd recreate our wedding day and night as to remember when and how we officially came together to become one in the eyes of our Maker and chose to be eternally committed to one another. Oh, it all sounds so romantic. Count me in. I bet. Do you think you're ready to be my wife? Maybe. Yeah, I think so. I know that it's early in our relationship, as I just met you a few months ago. Certainly we're off to a great start, but time will tell for certain. All relationships must go through several periods of growth so that each person can truly see if the one they're hanging with is the one for them. I agree.